Alrighty. So my solution to the water barrels falling over is going to be. There goes the UPS guy. So Venus is on him. So my solution is that I've got these railroad ties, and I bought some 3/4 inch limestone chat. So I'm gonna cut these up so that then I can build up about 4 foot by 4 foot box essentially, and fill that in with the gravel, and then I'll cut one of them up, about 5 of them, so enough to do 2 and enough gravel to do 1. I didn't know how much it'd be in the back of our truck or how much time I'd have today since we're getting ready to leave, and I'm just worried about doing the 1 for now. Then this one that actually did collapse, that one's not far away, we'll do when I get back before they come back into this paddock. So we're gonna cut them so that they can overlap on the ends, and then we'll drive rebar through them. I'll drill a hole and drive rebar through to hold those tight. And we'll put a rebar about middle distance too. Total cost to do this, rebar I already had laying around, but I think they're a couple bucks a piece, and we're gonna wind up using 8 sticks of rebar, about 2 foot long, maybe 18 inches long. We'll see what I got still laying around. And then the timbers were about 30 bucks after tax was added on. And then the chat was about 28 bucks for a half yard, and a half yard should do one of them, fingers crossed. Figuring out the math, it works, but you know, sometimes if the hole's a little funny and I can't pull enough dirt in to make it actually level, because it's not level anymore, right? They've dug a big crater, so that could affect it. But yeah, gonna get to cutting. So I'm actually looking at this, and I think I'm not gonna do the lapping. It would be stronger and sturdier that way, but I'm really thinking that as I go through that I'm gonna lose too much, because those are 9 inches. That's 18 inches when I hit that lap. 19 or 18 inches of space that I'm gonna lose in full size off those, all the way around. So then it's really only gonna be off a 4 foot piece. What is that? 18 inches off a 4 foot, 3 foot, 2.5 foot of actual space inside. I don't know that many pigs trying to get into that tight of a space. Jocelyn, I mean, they only ever do that if the water barrel gets real low, or just whenever they want to, actually. They're pigs. So I think having that full 4 foot, plus then the width of the 2 on either side, I think I'm just gonna do that. And I don't have any now, but I may come back with some big screws. But I think, to be honest, if I just put a thing of rebar, 2 extra things of rebar, so 1 on each end and then 1 in the middle, so 3 pieces of rebar on each of those, that does bump me up from 8 to 12 pieces of rebar. So I think I'll only have enough to maybe get through this one. But I think I would rather spend a little bit more on the rebar, not much more, than spend a bunch of time having to cut these down. I mean, I'm talking like 20 bucks maybe for the extra rebar. I don't know, metal prices have gotten kind of crazy. Maybe that'll be more, but I've got enough around on the farm that that'll only affect me on later ones. Yeah, so I think instead of wasting my time trying to cut that and getting a smaller product, or a smaller, just a smaller item for them, I'm gonna leave it full size. and just go from there. So really all I need to do now is cut one more in half and then cut the big one down into 18-inch, or the fifth one down into 16-inch pieces. That way we get 6 pieces so that the barrel can sit on 2 high on the back and 2 high on the front, but the part of the 2 will be the long 4-footer. So all right. Okay, that's all of those. I gotta go pull the barrel down, get them out of my way, set those in place, and then I'll go get the drill and sledgehammer and rebar. You know, actually, this is a terrible idea to try to build it in this spot. In a spot that's already muddy. I'm gonna now dig these back out of the muck, and I'm gonna build it over there. This was dumb. I don't know why I thought I'd do this. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Very dumb. I think just because I thought, this is where it is. T-boats are already here. But T-boats shouldn't be too bad to try to dig out. Starting with these ones so that they don't just come right back to this wallow and bury these worse. Fuck. They're way heavier and slipperier and they're covered in mud. Who'd have thunk that, right? This is Cade. He's our farm sitter and didn't know I was turning this on, so now he's on camera.
Now I'm in the camera.
So, that cut off filming there because my phone got too hot. Perks of working in 90+ degree weather. I think it's like 96 now. It sucks. I've got the hose running back to these guys. Couldn't turn it on while we were trying to pull the logs I threw in there out of the way. Now we're at the step where we're drilling holes and putting these in. These are ones that I have welded a bolt this way on the top. I have welded some for holding shelters down that are the other way. So there's a little eye-ring to hook ratchet straps to, but these should work like giant nails to hold those in place. Got the drill and drill bit over there. Yeah, look at that low battery, 20%. No power mode. All right, I'm gonna do that, and then I gotta put all the rocks in it, and then show Cade all of our chores. I'll probably let Claire start showing him chores while I'm doing this, and then I'll pick over with the pig stuff. All right, here it is. After all of that craziness, phone overheated 3 or 4 times from being in the sun. It's finally almost sunset. Not quite. It's still 90 something out right now, so still nice and warm. But now we should no longer have a wallow where our water barrels are, and hopefully this will also act as a hoof trimmer throughout the season as they walk on it. See if this one will do it for us. There was a couple already drinking out of it earlier while I was topping it off. Hopefully it doesn't just eat that rock. You gonna go up there, gal? No, she's still interested in how it smells. I do want to throw out, there is a pretty strong, not quite chemically, but like oily smell with the landscape timbers or the railroad ties. It's because they're treated with creosote, and that's what makes them last so long. So they can get like 30 years of life on the railroad and then keep kicking afterwards. So, which, you know, these are retired railroad ties. That's what you get when you buy them at Lowe's or Tractor Supply or wherever. And I got them knowing that like they could potentially leach some into the soil right around it, because they'll last so long. So that's less material being used. And since they've already been out, you know, on a railroad for that full life, they've already leached out most of what they're going to leach. So what's left shouldn't be that. There's still a decent smell to it, but it shouldn't be as bad as, you know, if it was brand new. And if I decide after a while that I really don't like that, we don't have to incorporate it on anywhere other than the 2 that I already bought the timbers for. And I'll try something different, you know, cedar or big milled centers of logs. But this is something that is a recycled item. So anytime we can repurpose an item and stop it from going to a landfill somewhere is fantastic. And they're gonna beat it up, right? So that works for me. Like, this is something that can take a beating. It's taken a beating by a train for however many years. It ought to be able to withstand this. And then now they just get the area where it was as their wallow, and they're quite content with that. Yeah, there we go. If you got any questions on how we set this up and did it, just give me a holler. Comment, like, subscribe. That's the important one. And then share if you think this is a valuable idea. And if you want to keep seeing some other stuff, go ahead and head on over to our Patreon. Thank you, folks.